Not at falling apart. But I decided I wanted to read more classic literature this year, and you know it's going to be black because that's that. Honestly, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's very moody. It's giving early 2000s vampire werewolf, like, Wattpad gothic cover. Greetings, royalty. My name is Olivia, and welcome back to my realm. My cousin Pretty Bree is recording me today, and we are going to a big warehouse sale. I'm still on my book buying ban, but what we're doing is we're going to try to find some cheap books, some used books for Crown Books for the bookstore. So this is going to be part of basically the New Stock Sunday, but we're going to do like a vlog style and do more things than just unboxing and buying books, hopefully. But you know I love buying books, especially when it's not for my library. So we're going to go do that. It's a beautiful day today. My eyes hurt because, you know, chronic illness girly. But we're going to have a good day. The melon is popping. And let's go shopping. So up here, the last time I was here, I found Chinwe Achebe's Things Fall Apart. So I'm hoping to find some maybe black classics. This one right here. Oh, this is my cousin Pretty Bree. And I remember this book growing up. Now we had some nasty bullies as well, but I actually loved Olivia the Pig series when I was younger.
I love these books too. Oh my god.
Not at falling apart, but it was one of my childhood favorites.
Oh my god. I can't believe we just found that just now.
All right, I'm gonna stop my impulse to take stickers off the books, but I got 3 books from the sale. The first one was A Girl Named Disaster by Nancy Farmer. This is a classic book. It's actually written by a white author, but I believe she did a lot of research in Zimbabwe for this book, so I picked this one up. Then we have Onika and the Academy of the Sun. This one is a very popular middle grade, a newer one, and I will be taking off all the stickers, obviously. And then the final one is a more famous book, and this is Alice Walker's The Temple of My Familiar. So I'm very excited about the 3 either black authors or black books that I picked up at this wholesale in Utah, of all places. So now we are going to go out and hang out, and I will be adding these to the used bookshelves for Crown Books. So we're ending this vlog on April 11th, 2026. It was raining all day, but thankfully we did not get caught in the rain. We ended it at a library closer to my cousin, and it is very beautiful. It is one of the smallest libraries I've ever been in. Even my local library is bigger now, and it was a shoe closet before. I was very spoiled by my childhood library. It was 3 floors, absolutely gorgeous. But I got Roots by Alex Haley because I decided I wanted to read more classic literature this year, and you know it's going to be black because that's that. You know, we're reading Black classic literature. Oh, I almost killed myself. That book is so heavy. They also had N.K. Jemisin and some other authors there, but I decided to pick up the other published works by Alexis Henderson, The Year of the Witching, as well as her newest book, An Academy for Liars. I have one of her books already, but since I'm on a book buying ban, I really don't want to buy any more books, but I've been interested in reading her longer books. Funnily enough, I actually published one of her short stories many, many years ago, and so I was really excited when I heard that she got a book deal, which was The Year of the Witching. That was her first published novel. So super excited. My eye is kind of hurting. Chronic illness, girly. So we're gonna head back, but we gotta yap some more because we gotta talk about Pretty Little Liars, and me and my cousin are going to start a little mini book club. Yes. So with that said, I'll see you later, Royalty, for part 2 of this vlog. Hey Royalty, we are back for the second day and the final day of this vlog. I promised that it would just not be an unboxing for the second bookish vlog, this bookish bookstore opening vlog, and I did make that promise happen, but I really do want to do a more traditional book small business vlog at some point, but for now we are going to end this with the unboxing. These boxes are really heavy, so I'm going to put them down for now. Today we went back to a church that my mom found. It was a really great service. I always appreciate when preachers preach an anti-war message, especially given everything that is going on in the world right now. So that was really good. Then I went and hung out with my cousin again, Pretty Bree. Go follow her YouTube and her Instagram and all her socials. We watched this really, no shade to the actors. I love a just brain off shark movie. I'm a legitimate fan of Sharknado. That should give you an idea of the caliber of shark movie I like. But that movie Thrash on Netflix, cut the camera. What was going on with that script? I have so many questions that will not receive any answers. That said, those kids in that movie I was so happy for them, and I won't say more because it's spoilers. But that said, let's get unboxing. We do have 3 new stock items here that we picked up for that used book sale, and I think I will get into it in one video about how to acquire used books for a bookstore, because I think it's part of book selling that a lot of, especially like more like online or quote-unquote non-traditional bookstores, don't talk about a lot, because used bookstores used bookstores typically have way higher margins than new bookstores for reasons that I've gotten into in shorts. But again, that's why I need to do a longer sit down kind of vlog with you all to talk about the mechanics of opening up a bookstore, because the margins on new books are so much smaller than used books. But it is a little bit more work and effort to acquire but kind of rehab used books to make them sellable. So it's kind of up and down. But that said, this is not a used book acquiring vlog. This is an unboxing new stock Sunday vlog of new stock. So we got some used new stock, and now let's talk about the new stock. So first up, we have this absolutely humongous box, which by the grace of God got to me in one piece, because it was in my mailbox opened. Like, the top of this was completely opened, and from what I can see, all of the books are not damaged, so just so thankful for that. But I'll just pull out one to start. I believe I got copies of the entire trilogy, and this is the Living Legend trilogy by Ali Shante. And this is between Danny and Nick. Danny is a demon, I believe, and then Nick is an angel character. So female demon, which is rare, and male angel. It's a reluctant allies to lovers series. It has a bit of mystery. It said that it did have spice. I think it's more of a slow burn, but don't quote me on that one. And I did think it would do well in this state. It is also an interracial romance. And yeah, I actually got introduced to this book because a special edition was done by it. Sorry, I pulled a special edition off my shelf. May a Divine Awaken by Michael Tinsley, to figure out which company did it. It's the same company. Satisfiction. They do BIPOC special editions. They did a special edition of Ali Shantae's Living Legend. That's how I found out about the series. So super excited. The wholesale process with her was really smooth too. And I felt like the shipping was not outrageous, and she didn't charge tax, which I'm running into that problem with some author wholesalers trying to charge tax. So that was really nice too. Here are all 3 books together. I got 3 of each in the series because this is a more popular author. Because one thing about being a bookseller is that you kind of just have to, for a lack of a better word, guess. And it's especially hard when I think, in my opinion, when you're running, not that Black literature is niche, but it is a niche bookstore whenever you exclude some types of fiction, if that's making sense. So if you're, for example, romance is the most popular genre fiction out there, right? Romance is, it just is, right? You can argue with your mama, the numbers don't lie. But a romance only bookstore necessarily excludes anyone that doesn't like romance, right? It's not a general independent bookstore. So if you don't like romance, someone is not going to walk into your store, right? Similarly, with a Black fiction store, though I also sell poetry, etc. But yet getting what I'm putting down here is that I'm necessarily excluding, say, Kennedy Ryan will be in my bookstore, who is a New York Times bestseller, but I can't put in certain New York Times bestsellers that someone would be looking for in the store, right? So kind of following that train of thought, you are kind of guessing, especially when it comes to indie authors, which a lot of Black authors are because of structural issues in publishing, which we can get into in another video, what people will like, right? You can go off of the Amazon reviews and what people are talking about on BookTok and BookTube and Bookstagram, but you just don't know. And in a state like mine, especially, I don't know what people are going to be into, right? So I'm doing a bit of a guessing game, and then I'm going to have to adjust from there. And that's also why it's so wonderful to have the internet, and especially an internet that is e-commerce enabled in this day and age, because what I can't sell here in my state, I can sell online. So that's kind of like part of it too. But back to Ali Shantae, we have Living Legend, Volume 1, Legendary, which honestly is kind of like, I don't know, it's very moody. It's giving early 2000s vampire werewolf, like Wattpad gothic cover. I really love this cover, and that's book 2. And similarly, like I kind of also really love Volume 3/book 3's cover, Live Like Legends. All 3 books are signed by the author, which is another great selling point when buying direct from authors. And she also included a little bit of swag. So she included this art print of Danny and Nick, the main characters, and Living Legend. Live Like Legends had this art print. And then let me check another copy of Legendary to just make sure something didn't slip out. Okay, it doesn't look like anything slipped out, so let's move on to the second series I have by this author. Okay, and then I'll talk about the second series I got from the same author together because it's a duet, and it's the Mystic Rain duet. And we have a book 1, A Lesson in Deceit, and then we have book 2, A Lesson in Obedience. This is actually a reverse harem, why choose. It's given dark academia vibes too. And if you watched my other bookish small business vlog, and if you haven't, go watch that one. I'm picking books that I think will do well in this state. It seems that a lot of dark romance, some slightly like mystical vibes and things like that do well in the romance community out here. And I'm going to a romance event as one of the 2 launch events for Crown Books out here. So that's why I'm acquiring a lot of romance books as well. And so that's why I'm doing a lot of books in that type of genre. And so, yeah, this follows one of my favorite tropes, a normal human. Her name is Riley. And she runs into this magical guy at a bar. In this world, magic is just normal. Other people can do magic, but lo and behold, she's just a regular human, which I'm just going to assume isn't really the case, but haven't read the series, so I don't know. She meets this guy in the bar. He's a telepath. He reads her mind. He sees that she's interested in him, and somehow she ends up enrolling in this magical university. And from there, kind of murder mystery happens and some other things as well. This is also a spicy series as well. So I really like the covers on these 2 as well. And the second book is significantly thicker, Well, I mean, no, it is. It's significantly thicker than the first book. So definitely whatever goes down in book 1 ramps up a lot in books 2. So yeah, I'm excited to carry this author. I'm always excited to carry Black authors, BIPOC authors, and anything that features Black characters, especially Black women. So I hope that readers enjoy her as well. Okay, let's not dox myself once again. We have another box from Penguin Random House. I think this is the rest of my order. I got Only for the Week by Natasha Bishop that I'm pointing to because it's sitting over there. I'm getting my office together to host all the stock for Crown Books because this is actually my hobby room, which I also need to do a tour and my library tour. I got so much to do, y'all. But I also do have an office in this house. And so that is where it's going to be basically like my home central to do everything for Crown Books. And all those books are going to go into there. So let's open this up. I might have a little bit more coming from Penguin Random House. I also have to pay my Simon & Schuster order as well. So much going on. But, you know, this little thing called my mortgage and getting other stuff delivered because I'm getting Kickstarter orders finally delivered. So much is happening. So much stuff is aligning finally. I promise y'all, I don't think I've talked about it in like a long vlog, but long traumatic story short, bunch of health issues happened late last year. Other traumatic stuff happened before that. Lost my job for 6 months. Kind of thankful that I lost my job on the front end of the job apocalypse that started happening. That kind of put me in a very, very messed up position. Lots of stuff fell apart. Found a new job. Doing okay at that new job. Please God that I stay in this new job as long as I can. Finally catching everything up. It's been a long, hard, grueling battle. But that said, I realized that life is short. My mental health is always going to be a roller coaster. But I got to keep faith alive. And I also have to pursue my dreams. And my dream, since the beginning of time, I've only had 2 big dreams in my life. And I've accomplished the other one, really. It was to write a book, and I've written many, and it was to run a bookstore. So I figured, why not? Let's do it. I'm entering a new chapter in my life. And that long and sappy little story over, let's talk about this package. So inside of here, we have, which is so timely because if you weren't watching the news like me, don't feel embarrassed because I legitimately did not know that this was happening until I logged on to Threads. Artemis II just landed, I believe today or yesterday, from going the longest distance, you know, into space ever. I didn't even know that was happening. I think a lot of people didn't know because when I logged into Threads, it was a lot of people that are like, what the heck is going on? So you're not alone if you didn't know like me. But this is so kind of timely that these books shipped at this time. I absolutely adore it. The Kiss Countdown by Etta Easton. And this is about a NASA astronaut and event planner. Amari Price is jobless, which is also kind of on point with what I was just talking about. And she spills her coffee on Vincent, a NASA astronaut, and they end up in a fake dating scenario. This story was so, so good. I have it on my bookshelf. Let's see if I can actually find it this time. Because, yes, I did. It's way down here. You can't see it, but the Kiss Countdown, the Love Stimulation is like at the bottom of my shelf down here. And I'll just point it out. The Love Stimulation follows Vincent's sister, Brianna, and she is in a Mars simulation, which is also very on point because from what I understand, the Artemis mission was to figure out if we can make a base on the moon so they can send these rich people at some point to go to Mars. That's what I understand from it. Obviously, it will have knock-on effects for us down here on Earth, us peasants, because we got GPS and a whole host of stuff. Even, I think, what is it? What else did we get? Memory foam, a bunch of stuff basically that we use in our everyday lives came from exploration of space. So I think it is actually pretty cool that a romance novel of all things kind of introduced me to concepts that are now coming to fruition with the Artemis II kind of mass project to the moon. So that's very exciting. So I have those, and these are all trad pub books because obviously it's Penguin Random House. Next up we have Sparks Fly by Zakiya and Jamal, and I actually have an arc of this book. And when it comes to trad pub books, it's more likely that I've read them if I bought them, not because I typically read more trad books than indie books. It's because with trad books at my bookstore, to set it apart, especially because it's going to be Black authors, I want to introduce readers more to indie authors, and so I'm picking indie authors I haven't read. Because it's also harder for them to get into bookstores, because what's the point of opening a bookstore and just stocking them with books that you can get at Barnes & Noble? You get what I mean? So I do want to be different in that way. So the trad books that I'm putting in my bookstore are a lot of books I've already read, so I can just like recommend and rant about them and really push them, and then be like, if you like this one, read this indie book. You kind of feel me? But this one, from what I've read of it, it is, the heroine is a virgin, and she goes to like, I believe like a sex club or some type of adult entertainment club. She runs into a guy. It kind of gets hot and heavy, but then they break it off, and she finds out he's trying to like take over her company, or like try to put some like AI nonsense in her company. And so it's kind of like a enemies to lovers vibe, but like they're in love with each other. It's kind of weird. Oh, it would be useful if I just like read the back cover summary, because it's exactly what I said. But yeah, it's a late bloomer romance. Spicy, I guess, but like from what I read of it, it wasn't super spicy after the beginning. It was kind of just, I'm going to reveal something about myself. I often read the last sentence of a book before I read the beginning of a book. I know, something very weird about me. And then sometimes I will skip around. I'm not going to get more into it. And when I was reading of it, it was very down to earth. It wasn't like super, you know, off the wall spice. It was very down to earth. Both of the characters, I believe, are bisexual too. So that was different too, because they're both Black, bisexual, book smart, reading the back cover summary. So yeah, this was kind of like a down to earth, but very modern, contemporary romance I think a lot of people will relate to. And I also adore a pink cover. Next, another book that I have an arc of, and I have so many arcs I have to get through. I'm looking at my Kobo right now. I'm off work this week, and I'm going to spend the day just reading, basically, and doing some other things, but a lot of reading. And this is Nikki Payne's The Princess and the P.I., a romantic thriller. I love a curvy baddie on the cover, and this just looks like a good time. You have an amateur sleuth and a jaded P.I., and really, I don't think you need more than that. The cover is banging, and we love an amateur sleuth. We love a professional was the quote-unquote unprofessional. And I'll be honest with you, the cover is the reason why I requested the art copy. Now for one that may be controversial. I actually did not really enjoy this book. I gave it like a 3.5 star, but I think I had some expectations that weren't met going into it. But I still feel like it is a good book and one to recommend to people, even though it didn't meet my expectations. And that is I Got Abducted by Aliens and Now I'm Trapped in a Rom-Com by Kimberly Lemming. I actually do have this book on my shelf right here still. This one is very zany. Dorothy, a Black woman with red hair, is whisked away, kind of Wizard of Oz style, to an alien planet. And she ends up with two mates and a talking lion named Toto, I believe. Yes, named Toto. There's a pink dinosaur. It is very hard to explain this book, and I won't try to explain it further. It was just very weird, very off the wall. I really, how many reallys can I put before I find it? Really enjoyed Missile Foe. That was the first thing I ever read by her. But now it makes me wonder if I enjoyed the zaniness of this one because it was so short, where I feel like this dragged a little with the zaniness. And you probably like, if you're kind of talking a little down about this book, why did you stock it? I obviously liked it enough that I still have it on my shelf. And like I said, I do feel like a lot of people would still enjoy it. I just had different expectations going in. And I think most people, if you go into it thinking that this is going to be the most outrageous thing you read in alien romance, you're going to like it. And then finally, this one was different for me because I'm actually a huge comic reader. I'm looking at my comic shelf right there, and I actually don't have a lot of comics in stock. And I'm trying to find it over here. I found this author, Jasmine Walls, on Kickstarter when I backed this project by her, The Trader and the Wretch, when she started this small press, Bone Dust Press. I wasn't aware that she was actually a well-known, well-established writer in the comic community. And she wrote, I believe the longest running comic was a black heroine in DC, Vixen, New York City. And this is another kind of like normal girl thrust into a supernatural world where she's gifted an ancestral totem and she can like do magic essentially. And so I found the art kind of a charming mix of a kind of like, what do we used to call it, like anime or like American comic, but kind of like a manga-ish feel. And so I really wanted to stock it, and now it's in the store. Well, I hope you enjoyed that new stock Sunday. There is so much to do to get the bookstore ready, but I am just super, super excited. And I am also very, very hot and very, very tired. And it is Sunday and I have work in the morning. So with that said, I'll see you next time, Royalty. Until then, keep dreaming big. And I can't wait to open up Crown Books with you. Bye.